The NBA playoffs are here, and we just got done watching our first incredible basketball game of the NBA playoffs between the New York Knicks and the Cleveland Cavaliers. This game, the Knicks won 101-97, taking game one of the series in Cleveland. This game showed us so much, but we got to remember that this is just the beginning of the series and there's so much basketball left to be played. If you're a Knicks fan, you got to feel highly encouraged from what you saw today. And if you're a Cavs fan, don't feel overly discouraged. You're still in the series. You got 6 games left, and there's a lot that's going to happen. So we're going to talk about this game, a lot of the things that I saw. One of the interesting things in the playoffs is it immediately accentuates your flaws. And that's what you start to notice more so than the regular season. When the Cavs are playing Charlotte in January, you don't tend to notice some of their flaws. And when you're the Knicks, some of these games, when you start to take these playoff games seriously, you see the best parts of them. And we're going to learn a lot about both of these teams throughout the course of the series. And I think that this is probably going to be the best first round series in the NBA playoffs this year. Before we get into the game, take a second to subscribe to the channel. We're at almost 1,200 subscribers. We're going to be covering the entire NBA playoffs, every team. It's going to be a fantastic time. Can't wait for it, so make sure you subscribe before we get started. So today, the Knicks won, like I said, 101-97. The Cavs shot better from 2. The Cavs shot better from 3. The Cavs had more assists. The Cavs had less turnovers. And the Knicks had more fouls. So how did they win this game? The New York Knicks dominated on the glass. The New York Knicks won 51-38 in the rebound battle. They also won points in the paint and fast break points. So when you watch this game, if you really were taking time and watching this game down the stretch, the thing that you noticed was how much the Knicks were dominating on the inside. With Mitchell Robinson, with Julius Randle, those guys down there just going in and absolutely dominating in that aspect of the basketball game. At the end of the game, when the Cavs had scored to get the game down to one possession, the New York Knicks needed a bucket. They missed their shot, and they got offensive rebounds on both of those possessions. They won the offensive rebounding battle 17-11. That's very, very important possessions in a game. When the playoffs, these games are not going to be as high of scoring games. It's 101-97. One team didn't even crack 100 points. Every possession is going to matter and be emphasized more so than normal. And tonight, the New York Knicks were able to win those possessions and play at a really high level. They got 10 rebounds from Josh Hart, who's unbelievable, 10 from Julius Randle, 8 from Mitchell Robinson, 5 from Quentin Grimes, 4 RJ Barrett, 5 Hartenstein, and 4 from Obi Toppin. So they got rebounding contributions from everywhere. On the other side, the Cavs had 11 rebounds from Jarrett Allen, 6 from Mobley, 4 from Mitchell, and then 2 was their next highest guy. So they just weren't competing on the glass at all. And I think that's something that if the Cavs want to win this series, they're going to have to figure out a way to close that gap. In the regular season, the Knicks were 3rd in the NBA in rebounding. The Cleveland Cavaliers were 25th. So this is not just a one-game blip. It's something that's going to be important that the Cavs will have to overcome. Now, the thing about these long playoff series is you're going to go through stretches where you're like, the New York Knicks are absolutely going to win this series. Then the next game you watch, you're like, oh, there's no way the Cavs don't win this series. And it goes so back and forth. So just remember to be patient. Losing game 1 doesn't necessarily mean the series is over, but the New York Knicks are absolutely in the spot they want to be in. Julius Randle had 19 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals. He played fantastic. And interesting, I think he played well for stretches, and I think it was really important because Jalen Brunson got in really early foul trouble. Jalen Brunson had 3 fouls with about 9 minutes left in the second quarter, and that didn't allow him to be on the court for the rest of the first half. So the New York Knicks had to find a way to keep competing, and they actually still had a lead at halftime, even with Jalen Brunson on the bench. But when Jalen Brunson came in the 3rd and 4th quarter and started cooking, he finished this game with 27 points. The thing that's so impressive to me about Jalen Brunson, we talk so much about NBA players that are really good at the regular season and struggle when you get to playoff time. Jalen Brunson is one of those guys that I think is built for the NBA playoffs. His ability to score in the half court, slow the game down, control the pace, and get a bucket, hit tough shots, All that's so important. And that's why we see guys like Kevin Durant really thrive in the playoffs, guys who can slow it down and get a bucket in a big moment in the half court. Because that's the difference between regular season and postseason. Guys are playing harder. Guys are getting back on defense. Guys are fighting on the glass more. One thing you noticed is a lot more guys on the ground tonight than a normal game. There were guys getting hit in the face. There were guys landing on top of each other. The game is physical, and this is going to be a physical series because the Cavs are very good defensively, and this Knicks team has some physical basketball players on it. So we're going to see a lot of physicality, and being able to fight through that, get tough buckets, is going to be important in this series. Donovan Mitchell played excellent for the Cleveland Cavaliers. He had 38 points and 8 assists. One of the things that I'm watching for, Evan Mobley struggled in his first playoff game, and Darius Garland, they said took 0 shots in the second half. They said that on the broadcast. I didn't look into it, but they said on the broadcast he didn't take any shots in the second half. In order for the Cleveland offense to be successful, they're going to have to be able to get something from Darius Garland when the game's tight, because they have one of the worst benches in the entire NBA. In fact, I think they're 27th in the NBA in bench scoring. And it's something that I talked about all season. Every time I would do a Cavs video, every time I break down a Cavs game, I would say they have 4 very good starters. They have one very below average starter in Isaac Okoro, who was 0 of 4 from the 3-point line, 1 of 6 from the field tonight, and just can't be on the court. He can't be on the court in these big moments, big games. But they have no bench depth. You don't have to be the top scoring bench team in the NBA to win a championship, but you can't be last. You cannot be in the bottom 5 and compete for an NBA championship. And if the Cavs, to be quite honest with how this series is set up, the Cavs are playing today, which is Saturday. They play again on Tuesday. Their starters are going to have to play 45 minutes a game, which, Mitchell played 44, Garland played 43, Jarrett Allen played 43, Mobley had 38. And I think you put Osman in there because the guy can at least hit a 3. He was 2 of 3 tonight from the 3-point line. So when you're trying to score against this Knicks team, you're going to have to bring in C.D. Osman, in my opinion, in order to compete. The New York Knicks, you got to feel great. Obi Toppin had 9 points off the bench. I think he played really well. Josh Hart, the addition to that has been fantastic. When the trade happened, what I said is Josh Hart the best player in the NBA? Is he a top 10 player in the NBA? No. But what it told the rest of the players on that squad is, hey, we are trying to win basketball games. We're trying to go for it this year. And Josh Hart has come in and brought physicality, brought really good shot making. He had a big 3 down the stretch tonight that I think really, when the Cavs took a 1-point lead, they made a roaring comeback, took a 1-point lead. Josh Hart hit a really, really tough step back 3-pointer to take a 2-point lead, and they never gave it back. So Josh Hart's provided so much for this team. Mitchell Robinson, he only played 26 minutes, 6 points, 8 rebounds. I thought he did a good job on the boards. Quentin Grimes was okay. Hartenstein's pretty good. Emmanuel quickly didn't do too much tonight. He was 0-5 from the field, so kind of an off game. Very interesting to watch. The other thing is a lot of these guys are in their first playoff series. The guys that do have a lot of playoff experience, Donovan Mitchell and Jalen Brunson, played very good. Guys like Garland, Evan Mobley, maybe I think quickly was in the playoffs when they were in it 2 years ago, but I don't know how much he played in that. I'd have to look back. But Julius Randle's played in the playoffs before. But that's going to matter, especially these early games, because it's just a different atmosphere. The energy's crazy. It's a national broadcast. There's a lot of pressure on you. The lineups start to change, and some guys can't deal with that. Some guys can't handle that, and that'll be very interesting to see who steps up. And heading into Tuesday, this is going to be a very important game. If you're the Cleveland Cavaliers, you cannot go down 0-2 in this series to the New York Knicks and then go to New York. So game 2 is going to be a must-win game for the Cleveland Cavaliers if they want to have a chance in this series. If you're the Knicks, you got to feel fantastic about what you saw today. You led this game pretty much wire to wire. They were up 6 after the first quarter and really never gave back that lead. Cleveland got a quick 1-point lead, like I said, but no real resistance from the Cleveland Cavaliers. So we will see what happens on Tuesday. I'm pumped for the rest of this series. Pumped for what I'm seeing from the Knicks. Cavs, go back to the drawing board, see what you can do to come back better for next game. And I'm hoping for another great basketball game on Tuesday. Appreciate y'all watching. Don't forget to subscribe. We're going to go watch Kings Warriors. I'm pumped for that series. So don't forget to subscribe. Cyber go.